Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia, and welcome back to the Overwatch Legal Roundup. A London Spitfire off-season edition. Yeah, it's time to make sense of what's been going on for the London Spitfire in the off-season. Now, we've had a lot of signings in this off-season, with a lot of different teams moving people around, and London Spitfire have been hitting the headlines a lot, because basically they got rid of everyone. They literally got rid of everyone. Some of the best players, in my opinion, in the league, like, they've lost Profit and Gesture to Seoul Dynasty. They've let Birdring go. He's now with the LA Gladiators. They've let Bedosin go. They let Quartermain go. They let Nuss go. There's no one left. Fury's gone to the Philadelphia Fusion, so London Spitfire are rebuilding their roster, and they have been releasing an absolute megaton of teasers over the past couple of weeks. And yeah, they've not actually confirmed anything. They've just teased everyone constantly. I'm telling you, it's agonising to be a London Spitfire fan in the Overwatch League at the moment, because they don't confirm anything, they just completely tease it to you. It's so annoying and frustrating. But anyway, we are here to make sense of the teasers. That's what we're here to do. And we are going to go through them all. And if it's correct, we should be able to speculate. Obviously nothing confirmed, because Spitfire haven't confirmed it. We should be able to speculate what the 9-man or 8-man roster for the London Spitfire is. So, we start off with the first teaser then, and this came about a week and a half ago now, I think, or something like that, and it just says, "Don't mind me, just a recent Panda Academy graduate passing by," and it's a picture of a panda with some Spitfire face paint and a hammer in King's Row. And everyone was like, what does this all mean? Well, this is... the most obvious case for this is it's pointing to Jungmak. Now, Jungmak is a main tank player for LGE Hoya. I can never say that, it's so annoying. But they are the academy team of, yes, the Chengdu Hunters in Contenders China. So, that's where the panda comes from, right? With the massive Reinhardt hammer, kinda makes sense. So, if we are to believe this, London Spitfire have signed Jungmak, a 19-year-old main tank from LGE. So, this is actually a pretty good signing. He's got some big shoes to fill. But that is the first teaser we've looked at. Moving on, and a day later we got another teaser. And for some reason, London started doing it in Minecraft. So, the teaser was in Minecraft, and they took a London Spitfire logo, 8 golden nuggets, and crafted a glistening melon. Yeah, but it was a glistening melon. So, this points towards Glister. Now, Glister is a DPS projectile player for Gen.G in South Korean Contenders. Glister has been on the radar of a lot of teams for quite a while. Glister is actually very young. He's still 17, but he will come of age just before the Overwatch League starts, January the 26th. That is like 1 or 2 weeks before the league starts. London Spitfire, I think, play their first game on the 8th or the 9th, something like that. So that is like cutting it very fine. But you can see the way the Spitfire are going here. Really, really young players. Really young players. So, Glister, I can't argue with this. Like, Glister is a fantastic signing for the Spitfire. Did really well for Gen.G in the Gauntlet. Did really well for Gen.G in Season 2 of Korean Contenders. He did really well when he was at X6 Gaming before he was at Gen.G. So, Glister could be a standout DPS player for London Spitfire. And he is obviously the guy who's got to try and fill the shoes of Profit. Not easy, but to be quite honest, at age 17, and with the experience that Glister already has, Glister could be the guy to do it. So, this is by far a really standout signing for Spitfire out of their cryptic ones. And remember, it's nothing confirmed. Before I say this is a signing, it's nothing confirmed. So, move on, and the third day in a row we got another one, and this one was a really difficult one to work out, actually. So, they gave us a teaser, which was a GIF of, or a GIF, or a GIF, whatever which way you want to say it, of a red R. So, we were all like, what's going on here? I don't really understand this one. Well, a few minutes later after that, we got a hex code, a color hex code, which was #BC3F4A. The colour relates to blood red or sanguine. So if you combine that with the R, you get sanguinar. Now, not much is known about this guy. He currently plays for Gen.B. Gen.B is the academy team of Gen.G. He is a main support player, and there is not much footage of him around. I've seen him playing for Gen.B versus Gen A, and he plays a lot of Lucio, so he's obviously the guy who's going to replace Nuss and Quartermain. Again, it's very hard to make judgments on Sanguinier before we see him actually play. It's a shot in the dark for Spitfire, but also Krillin was as well. So we didn't see much Krillin. We've got really pretty much nothing to go on with Sanguinier. So I guess we will just see where it goes, but he really could be a hidden gem for Spitfire. They've clearly been doing a lot of homework to find someone like this in the depths of Gen.G's flippin' academies. Like, Gen.G is the academy team of Soul Dynasty, and they're finding someone from the academy team of Soul Dynasty. So that's how deep the Spitfire are going here to try and find the roster that's going to work. Anyway, moving on, day 4, and we get another one, yes. So we get London Spitfire. It's a logo. It says London Spitfire. We get the DPS logo, and we get a Runaway logo, and we get LDN SPF in a certain font. So to break this down, obviously I've said the first point, DPS. Second point, Runaway logo. Third point, the font. And the font is the big giveaway if you know it. It is from No Game, No Life. So this would hint to Shui. Now Shui is not currently assigned. He was at Runaway up until a couple of months ago. He has a very storied history in Korea and the Pacific contenders as well. With Maki Esports, he then moved to Runaway. He won Season 3 2018 in Korea with Runaway, contenders obviously, and he also won a bunch of NetEase Esports X tournaments over 2018 and 2019 with Runaway, beating the likes of LGD Gaming, Element Mystique, O2 Blast, Gen.G along the way. So he's got a lot of history here. Again, he's only 18. Another really young player, but Shui is another projectile DPS, well known for his Genji, and another really, really good DPS, or really good looking DPS for the Spitfire. And something they haven't necessarily had previously is a flex in the projectile DPS role. When they used to have Guard, he was obviously a Sombra specialist. When they used to have Hureg was more of a Widowmaker, although he could flex to the Pharah, but that was about it. And we didn't see much Hureg anyway. Hureg would normally sub in for Birdring. Normally, if they were going to change a DPS, it would be for Birdring, because they'd never sub out Prophet. So, interesting moves from the Spitfire once again. It's now time for, yes, another hint. We have got a picture of a tiger with a support logo on its head, flying up the screen with some wings in some clouds. Now, if you break it down, it kind of looks like a Soul Dynasty player, right? And then you look at what they're saying, and we're going places in OWL 2020, London Spitfire says, and then it says high places. This kind of gives it away. This surely must be highly of the Soul Dynasty. So, the first OWL player that London Spitfire have signed. Again, only 19 years old. Very young. Looked decent for the Soul Dynasty, but didn't play all that much for Soul either. So it's difficult to know where he comes from. But he did have a really good time with O2 Blast in Korea. And also, he looks like the replacement for Badoshin, because he's the Ana Zen player. Next up, we have this little teaser, and it says, this off-season has been fire, but as all things do, it will come to an end. And it shows the picture of a fuse being lit, going all the way up to a London Spitfire logo. Now, this can't be anyone else, I wouldn't have thought, but Fuse. Fuse is a player that we had already had announced. He joins from the Fusion University. He is a support player. Again, he only aged 20, right? So he's still pretty young. He plays the Lucio, plays Diana, plays the Mercy. Again, it gives Spitfire a bit of movement in that support role to go alongside Highly and Sanguinier. Should be really interesting for the Spitfire. And Fuse has a lot of experience around the Contenders career scene. He's been in Contenders career trials, Contenders career as well. He's been with MVP Space, MVP Infinity, Gen.G, Fusion University, so he knows his way around the Korean scene. It'll be interesting to see who Spitfire start with in their support slots, because that should be really, really interesting considering the players they have on board now. This is where we have to go a bit more extreme. So, in the next day we get, wait a minute, this isn't a Destructo disc. This is a re-sign. This is most likely Krillin. Why? Because that's Krillin, and it just gives a picture of Zenyatta. And you got the 6 circles, and then he turns into the 9 circles, and you got Zenyatta with it on his head. This is most likely Krillin being re-signed for the London Spitfire. I thought if there was any player that probably wasn't going to go anywhere, it was Krillin, because I don't think he'd be in demand. Plus, I don't think London want to get rid of Krillin because he's kind of this hot prospect that they kind of want to develop, I think. And he will merge in with this roster being really young as well, and they'll all develop together. I think that's kind of what the idea London Spitfire have got here. So, next up we've got another teaser, and this one just says, so what does BOB stand for, or Bob? And no, in this case, it's not Big Omnic Butler. Okay, so the video shows the picture of a Bunsen burner, then pouring some water into a teapot with London Spitfire on it, and then we get to see Jeff at the yaw log. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? Well, you've got to have quite a close look at this one to get it. If you look at the loot box on the yaw log and I think the briefcase or something, or the Christmas present down by the left-hand side of the fire, you can see there's a face on those boxes. I believe the face is of Tim Berners-Lee. Now, the Bob in the tweet stands for Burners on the Box, or Burners on Box. I believe this is a tease for a player we already knew they had signed, and this is Banar, their new flex tank player that they signed from Fusion University. We already knew about this one, I've covered it in the transfer roundup. Again, another really young player, 19 years old, looked good for the Fusion University when Fusion University were in North American contenders. Fusion University dominated the North American contenders when they were in it, and the Atlantic Showdown as well. They got to Korea, they stomped through the trials, but then they found it a bit difficult when they came up against teams like Gen.G, O2, Runaway, Element Mystique. But they did give a good account of themselves losing out to Runaway, though. So, I think this is a pretty good signing. Can he fill the shoes of Fury, though? This is the guy they have got to replace Fury. And who knows? He might be a bit more flexible than Fury, though. Although Fury did have a good Roadhog and Zarya, and even the Orisa when he was using that to cover for Gesture's Sigma. So we will remain to see. Again, a lot of this is to remain to be seen for London Spitfire when we look at this. And that leads us on to the latest teaser as of recording of this video, which came out the day this video is being created, which is the 18th of November. And it says, how many stars do you see? We can at least see 9. Yeah, I see what you did there, London Spitfire Twitter feed. C9. Don't want to see any of them next year, by the way. Let's not keep it on brand. Okay, so it says C9, right? But it says C as in you can see, visually see, not the letter C. This could be one of two things. It shows a GIF of a London Spitfire logo twinkling in the stars. Now, keyword twinkling, keyword stars, keyword space, keyword perhaps stellar. It says C9, so what they're saying is it's a play on words with C9. I get that, but also this hints to a 9-man roster announcement. Well, what have we got so far? Jungmak, Glister, Sui, Hylie, Fuse, Krillin, Banar, and Sanguinier. That's 8. So we're waiting on 1. This teaser could tease one of two things. It could tease either the coach they have signed, which is Twinkle, or it could tease Stella. That is another possibility. And to be quite honest, I don't know which one it is. I would punt probably for Stella, simply because I think this is purely based on roster announcements rather than coaching announcements, because then, like, are they going to tease Pavane and people like that? I don't think they're going to do that. Now, the history of Stella, he's 21, obviously was with Toronto Defiant, then with Boston Uprising, then let go from Boston Uprising. So, I think this could be, like, London's backup DPS player, and he also can play the hit scan, which is pretty crucial, and that's something that London lack right now in these teasers, in my opinion. Now, this is all just speculation because London have not actually confirmed anything, but it looks like London are going for a really young roster, a really experimental roster in some respects. It's nothing, this is like uncharted territory for London, considering they brought in 2 ready-made teams when they were created, and they all kind of knew each other. This is a roster that is kind of picked and taken out from different teams and mashed together, and they're trying to create some sort of super roster. And it could work. It might take some time, but it could work. So, if we work on what we are seeing here, it is Jungmak, Glister, Shui, Stella, Banar, Hylie, Fuse, Krillin, and Sanguinar. Now, those are your 9 players. Again, it says at least 9 in that final teaser, so there could be more players coming in for the London Spitfire, we don't know. And they have to have at least 8 signed already, so there could be more. They could go all the way to a 12-man roster again. Who knows what London will do in the coming weeks. But this is me making, or trying to make sense of what London have done, and this is actually a much longer video than I anticipated, so sorry about that, but hey, we had to break it down. Now, things to watch out for in the coming days. There are some rumours around the Chengdu Hunters. There are some rumours or teasers around the Florida Mayhem as well, so keep an eye on those two, and keep an eye on the London Spitfire, because I think their entire roster enhancement is coming pretty soon now. So, I will leave it here for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you'd like to, give a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then!